What's up and welcome to Zero to X. My name is Daniel and today with me as always.
Hey guys, my name is Amara.
What's up, man? This is
Bro,
new. This is new.
there's guys a lot of moving parts.
Bro, you don't even want to know, man. It
Oh
is
my
a
god.
lot of moving parts. This is new, but how are you
Yeah,
doing, man?
I'm doing absolutely great, my guy. Like I was thinking about this conversation and I was genuinely excited. Genuinely excited.
I
Looking
hear
forward to what
that.
we have to talk about today.
I,
How
I
you
hear
doing? How was
that.
your day?
The day so far has been very, very, very full. Um,
Yeah,
it's
same.
it's been an interesting day. Like, guys, we're essentially talking about happy H2 to everybody, but we're essentially talking about our learnings from H1. So I'm more like, I guess, kind of like Amara. I'm more excited to answer the question, how has your year been than how has your day been? Do you get? Because like, as in, how your day
Yeah,
been in comparison to like talking about the entire year and our learning some of it.
yeah,
Like, I'm just more
yeah.
excited about the other. So I guess we might just get right into it, man. So
100%.
for you, how has your year been? How's 2024 been?
Bro, I can't lie. It's been rough. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
being candid. And when I say rough, I'm not referring to the difficulty of execution.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm referring to the management of expectations and the actual outcomes. Do you get me? Because
that's
when I
very
think
specific.
about, yeah, because when I look back on the months that have gone by, I had very clear expectations for how those months would pan out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But then execution happened, and you'll find that the quality of the execution affected the outcomes that I expected. Do you get me? So
Yeah.
this year, I, I, I don't even know what to attribute it to be honest, because I found that I had a lot of things going on. There were a lot of
Yeah.
moving parts.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, it just seemed like I had to, the first thing I had to do was decide within myself that I can't keep moving everything at the same time. It's a conversation
Okay.
I had with you, if you remember. I had
Yeah,
to
yeah, I
figure out
remember that. I remember that.
what my 20 of my 80-20 rule was. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that had to then influence how I made decisions going forward.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
overall, if I think about the year, I would say the term rough just really refers to how well I executed. So I will rate my execution for the past H1 a
Yeah.
50%.
50%. I
And
hear that.
that's just me being candid. I mean, because I think
Yeah.
about H1 relative to 2023, and at
Yeah.
least our listeners have context for what 2023 looked like. Do you get me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say I was operating at average performance for most of H1,
Mm-hmm.
just because I had a lot going on. Had a lot going on, but we'll delve into what that looked like. But how was your H1?
My H1 has also been interesting. For guys that don't know that have the inside gist, I use the term interesting as a blanket expression for
Yeah, yeah.
everything because like I would just, not that I don't want to be negative, not that I don't want to be
Yeah.
candid either, right? But it's like
Mm-hmm.
just an accurate way for me to describe what it is that I'm feeling while remaining optimistic, right? So interesting can mean a lot of things. Interesting just means something to consider. So yeah, I would say H1 has been very, very, very interesting for me. Interesting in the sense it has been a lot of learnings, which like we're gonna get into, which is the point of this episode. It
Yeah.
has I've had, I guess our stories are similar, and I guess you already like know this from like just our day to day like
Day
interaction
to
and
day.
like
Yeah.
whatnot. Yeah. It's been a similar experience to yours, right? Where like there's a vision, there are plans, there is clarity, at least more often than not, about what you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
do. You do your best to show up, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
but then how that charts towards results, right,
Hmm.
is is also interesting for lack of a better word, right? It's also interesting for lack of a better word. And what I've found to be interesting about H1 genuinely is that regardless of the, for lack of a better way of expressing this, lack of results that has been happening so far, like the results that we haven't seen just yet, right?
Yeah.
I am, and I don't mean to say this like in a, oh, encourage yourself in the Lord kind of way, But
Yeah.
bro, I promise you, I'm I might seem calmer, I might seem, more mellow about things, but bro, I
Mm-hmm.
promise you, I am extremely excited about what the last 6 months of this year has to offer, what I
Yeah.
think I'm going to be able to produce, because it's that kind of thing where, genuinely speaking, because I was more active this year on course correcting. If you remember last year, towards the end, it
Mm-hmm.
was one of the
Mm-hmm.
biggest things we talked about, being able to course correct in the middle of things. I think we also talked about it in an episode earlier on in the year, like just being able to course correct pretty much. And that course correcting has left me, because I was actively doing it. So I am more excited, like genuinely more excited, despite the fact that, okay, yes, I've done a decent job of showing up and doing what I think I'm supposed to do. Right. I know like there is a lot of room for improvement, definitely. Yeah. But I promise you, I'm not discouraged in any way. I am extremely, extremely excited about what the remaining months, the remaining weeks, remaining days of 2024 has to offer. Like, I'm genuinely excited because it kind of feels like, okay, I'm wiser now than I was 6 months ago when the year started, right? So it's
Absolutely.
kind of like a better starting point, which I think is a helpful slash optimistic way of looking at things. Like right now, if you do the activity or the exercise of course correcting, you'll find that you are wiser now than you were
Mm-hmm.
6 months ago, because you know the things you tried, you know the things that didn't
Mm-hmm.
work, you know the things that work, you know the things that you can now try to make things work, right? So
Yeah.
genuinely, bro, I'm just very excited. Which is maybe to people that see me like on a day-to-day basis might seem a little ironic, right? Because I just look mellow, just my head always in some notepad or in my computer or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it
Mm-hmm.
and that just so happens because the kind of things that I'm doing or I'm building just needs me to be like that for that moment. But
Yeah.
bro,
Yeah, I
I
hear you.
promise you, I am super, 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 super excited for the rest of 2024. Like super,
Yeah,
super,
same.
super, super excited for it. It's like I know where I am now, and like the only way is up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
I'm stoked, especially for the fact that
Yeah.
I was actively course correcting in the course of the 6 months, and so I'm wiser. I can take better decisions, so provided I'm executing the way I'm supposed to. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I hear
yeah.
you.
That,
I hear
that,
you.
that that's been my year. So it's interesting that both of us would say that we rated our execution to be. I'll give myself like a 50 over 100, or let me say a 45, right? Let me say 45 over
Mm-hmm.
100. So why do you think it was a 50 over 100 for you?
Okay, so here's one of the first things that comes to mind when I think
Yeah,
about the 2024 H1 experience. There were certain things that I knew that worked really well for me in
yeah.
2023. Then I got into
Mm-hmm.
2024, all right? And then I tried to improve on the things that I was currently doing in 2023 and see how I could like level up the intensity in some way. Yeah. But then I ended up
Mm-hmm.
finding out that it's not exactly a linear, it's not like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
we stack this up here and then this just works out the way we'd like it to work out. I don't know if you get what I mean. Upon
Yeah.
trying to change my existing systems, not change, but tweak my existing systems to cater for
Yeah.
what I envisioned would be my needed output for the year, I started to
Yeah.
struggle. And that
Yeah.
struggle just, yeah, it just built on itself. And then, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty much what's contributed
Mm-hmm.
to the 2024 experience as I came to see it. Yeah, that's pretty
Mm-hmm.
much it. That was pretty
Mm-hmm.
much it.
So what learning or paradigm shift did you have that has kind of put you in a better place to be able to execute for the rest of 2024? What are a couple of things that you can share?
Bro, I have a lot to share. I can't even lie. I'm
I
hoping the
hear you,
episode
man.
ends up
I
I'm
hear you,
hoping the
man.
episode ends up not being too long.
Yeah.
But like I said, I mean, guys, and I've had this conversation with Daniel, but aside this one, I don't think I've had any of the other learnings with Daniel. But I would still mention it because I know it's super important. And
Mm-hmm.
the interesting thing, like I mentioned to Daniel, guys, is I haven't read the 80/20
Yeah,
book.
like we just all
The
know it from
80/20 book.
yeah, we all just know it from it's been used in a number of illustrations in different
Yeah,
books. So we kind of like
exactly.
just get the gist of it. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
so I understand the principle behind the 80/20 conversation, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so the first thing that really began to hammer on my mind, for lack of a
Mm-hmm.
better term, that I needed to use to help me to see the kinds of result that I wanted for the year. I had to sit down one day, guys, like literal talk, guys. I had to sit
Yeah.
down one day and I had to ask myself, you're moving a lot of parts, and that's perfectly fine, bro. But you are currently in a phase of your life where there is a certain kind of result that is most important to you.
Yeah.
I mean, Daniel has more context for this, guys, and maybe you guys
Mm-hmm.
will eventually. But
Yeah,
like,
you will
there
eventually. I
is,
mean, they
yeah,
will.
yeah. I mean, they will for sure. But I understood that there was a kind of result that I needed for my life, and because I was
Mm-hmm.
juggling a lot of things, I had to just sit down one day and ask myself, what exactly? There's a book, and it's a fantastic way I used to think about it. A book by
Mm-hmm.
somebody that myself and Daniel both respect. His name is Andy Mokolo, guys. You guys probably know him, right?
Yeah.
And he said something in his book. He said, like, make a list of all your goals and everything you want to
Mm-hmm.
achieve for your year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And after doing all of that, then ask yourself, what goal of all these goals has the potential to get me all the other goals?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like, the moment, and I kid you not, from the day I read that thing in that book, it never left my head.
Yeah.
So, going into this year and then finding myself dealing with a number of struggles, I had to then sit back and reevaluate what my 20% was that I was sure was going to drive
Yep.
the 80%
Yep.
outcome.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that was the first lesson for me. Pick the 20.
Yeah.
Like, we know that if we hit this 20, we are almost good for the
Mm-hmm.
year. Like,
Yeah.
bruh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
We're Gucci for the
no-brainer.
year,
Exactly.
man. We're
Exactly.
Gucci
So
for the
that's our
year.
first lesson. But I don't want to go into all my lessons at once. I'll allow you to share one
Yeah.
lesson that you
Yeah. My lesson is kind of similar to Amara's, and it kind of piggybacks off what he said. I think I was actually able to articulate this when we had this conversation, if you remember, and it was the fact that, like, for me, and I think it's been the most important one because I feel like the more fundamental the paradigm shifts, the more profound the impact following, right?
100%.
Um,
I,
so for
100%.
me, it was a need to understand what I was optimizing for at the moment, the
Mm,
kind of
mm,
life
mm.
I was
I remember the
optimizing
conversation.
for,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
priorities and the values that I'm optimizing for. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And like this
Yeah.
play a large role in the actions that you end up taking, all of that jazz. Like, let me explain. Say you want, and context for this is you needed to have decided the things that you consider priority in life. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like the things that you're saying, okay, I'm absolutely prioritizing this. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is number one, and this is number two, and this is number three, and you know how
Mm-hmm.
important they are relative to each other. So I'll share an example to explain. Say you want to absolutely crush it with career, yeah.
Mm.
You want to
Yeah.
absolutely crush it, so you optimizing your life to absolutely crush it for career would look something like this. You understand the amount of work that needs to be done. You probably have like the goals you want to achieve personally, professionally, like in everything that makes the makeup of your career, right? Of your professional life.
Mm-hmm.
You have what those goals are. So it means that you need to understand, and the need for optimizing means that we have limited resources or limited inputs. That's the whole point of
Yes. Yeah.
optimization because
Yeah.
you are limited. We are limited in time. Yes, we can leverage certain resources to multiply the effect of what we can do. But like on a very simplistic level, we need to optimize because we are limited. I mean, if we had all the time in the world to do everything, we would do everything, right? I think.
Yeah.
So, but we have
Yeah.
essentially 24 hours in the work, like
Bro,
in the day.
I don't even
You
seem
have
to know of these
you
days.
have 24 hours in a day. There is only
Yeah.
one you. Again, this is removing leverage. We're not talking about like you have an EA or
Mm-hmm.
whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is
Mm-hmm.
removing all forms of leverage and multipliers that you can add. There is only one you with 24 hours. How do you spend it? Do you understand? So
Yeah.
learning how to optimize my day for the things that matter was very important. So take for instance now, if you were optimizing your day for work and let's say like your job was the type that required you to work really long hours, right? No matter how passionate you are, about food and cooking, you would know that it is not the smartest thing in the world for you to spend an hour or two meal prepping and cooking per meal every
Yeah.
single day, because that takes away,
Yeah. I
let's say
hear
you're
you.
doing breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or eating twice a day, like I think most people do, right?
Mm. Yeah.
That's 4 hours, like four in the middle of the day hours, right?
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
middle of the work
Yeah.
hour hours of your
Yeah.
entire day, that you could literally be in a deep work session or taking meetings or doing something else, right? It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean that you might be passionate, bro. Yeah. You might be passionate about cooking. You might be passionate about food. Yeah. But if you are saying my career is the most important thing in the world and I'm going to sacrifice or commit long hours to making it work, to building the things that I
Mm-hmm.
think I want to build, right? It means that
Mm-hmm.
you have to optimize.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like
For
the
that
time
career. Yeah.
for that for your career, that's what you're optimizing for at the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're optimizing for like the career thing, like I said, it means that like the food can be 2 meals a day with almost 3 hours in meal prep and
Exactly.
all of
Yeah. I
that
hear you.
jazz, right?
Yeah. I hear
It's
you.
a quick 10, 15 minute, a quick order that is on the way to you. Then the moment it comes, you take a 15, 20 minute break. Yeah. And then you are
Yeah.
back to work.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Especially like if you are a live at home remote work kind of person where like there is
Mm-hmm.
more a responsibility on you, right, to
Mm-hmm.
drive yourself. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Let's even make
Mm-hmm.
it like you're a family person. Do you understand? Let's say you're
Yeah.
a family person, someone else that was a family person that was also career driven, yeah, but wants to spend time with his family might say, oh, this cooking time is time that I used to bond with my kids. So I know my career is here,
Mm.
but I take my family almost as equally, like in being present for them there, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it might be wise for you to take the 3 hour prep time to make food, because that is family time.
Family time. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like you
That's
know what
quality
you're
time with family.
optimizing. Do you understand? You know what you're
Yeah.
optimizing for. So it needs to be clear to you the things that you're optimizing for. Like, okay, if you say this is important, this is important, this is important, this is important, how can you design your life in such a way that the things that are important get your most and your best attention? Do you
Yeah.
get what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say? That will
Yeah.
always be the question. How do they get
Yeah.
your most and your best attention? And like this thing can go really, really crazy, man. It is as
Mm-hmm.
simple as, oh, if I'm optimizing for work and efficiency, it means that I would rather take a house that is not as great, but it's closer to my office. Maybe it's even 5 or 10 minutes distance from my office, right? Rather than taking a better
Mm-hmm.
apartment on the other side of town, yeah, that has
Mm-hmm.
all the bells and the whistles, but you know that traffic, eh?
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
traffic, so you would
Yeah.
rather
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
spend that time doing traffic. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So like there
Mm-hmm.
are
Mm-hmm.
a lot of creative ways that you will learn to
Mm-hmm.
optimize.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But you just have to be clear that this is what I am optimizing for. So the
Yeah.
decisions you make will now be based on those priorities. Do you understand what
Yeah.
I'm trying to
I
say?
understand that.
So
I understand that.
yeah, that is a very simple example. But for me, it was probably one of the most important. I might say it might have been the most important learning that I have, because it directly affects execution, because there is always a competition of priorities. Like, do I do
Yes.
this
Yes.
over this over this over this? But
Mm,
knowing,
and I can see
but
how
no,
that plays out in your
yeah,
life.
yeah, bro, you
Yeah.
understand? But
Yeah.
knowing that this is first, this is second, and this is how close second and first are. So when I need to make decisions on an hourly basis or on a daily basis or on every 6 hours, like so far I have a clear picture of what I'm optimizing for, it helps.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
is really, 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 really long term. So if you imagine that you want to have a great family life, do you understand?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It means that you cannot be spending 14, 15 hours a week at work, because that's long term, because
Yeah.
you think your kids are still young, for instance. Yeah. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
able to like just do the 12 hours, live close enough so that you can be back for dinner, you spend dinner with the family, blah blah blah. If that is your destiny, they will have those memories, because and it'll be smart of you, because you are optimizing for family
Yeah.
as much as you're
Yeah.
trying to optimize for work. So knowing
Yeah.
what my
Yeah.
priorities are, yeah, and optimizing for that life, both in the interim on a day-to-day basis and in the long term, what I think is going to be important 5, 10 years from now, yeah, has been a refreshing paradigm to have, man. It's brought extra amounts of clarity,
I
conviction about
understand
what
it.
I'm doing, and confidence. So yeah, like For sure, for sure. Super
I hear
important
you.
lesson.
I hear you. I
Super
hear you. I
important
hear you.
lesson.
I think of a number of things that I could easily add to like
Mm-hmm.
further buttress your point.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go down one rabbit hole.
I hear you,
I want
man.
us to stay broad. I want us to stay broad.
Let's be as broad as possible, man. I totally hear
Yeah.
you. I totally hear you.
Another lesson that comes to mind for me, and I learned this one recently. I mean, but H1 is H1.
H1 is H1, man.
So
H1 is H1.
so I was doing something. Yeah. I took on a task, and while I took on the task, I remember I don't remember the video that Cody Sanchez made available. Like she basically said
Yeah.
in the video that usually when you set goals, and I'm paraphrasing very loosely because it's the point that matters, yeah.
Yeah.
But her point was usually when you set goals, it's less about what you have to like structure and
Yeah.
a lot more sometimes about what you have to sacrifice.
Sacrifice. I hear that.
So
I hear that. I hear
and
that.
I didn't for the longest time I didn't think that I fully agreed with her sentiment. I understood the angle, yeah, but I was like, I've not really seen this play out in my own life, yeah.
Yeah.
But here's
Yeah.
how. Let me tell you how it played out specifically. Let me give
Yeah.
you, let's put numbers behind what this thing looked like.
Yeah.
So let's say you want to make a um let's say you want to start social media. I'm going to use
Yeah.
a random example to drive it home. You want to start social media and you want to make 10 pieces of content every day.
Look
For
at
whatever
you.
reasons, your
Yeah.
Creator Pro Max, whatever,
Yeah,
whatever
bro,
reason.
that's the expression. Creator Pro Max.
But for whatever reasons, you decide that that's the goal that's important to you. And that goal, like we said, 80-20. So that goal
Yeah.
influences a lot of other things in your life. Yeah. And then you start this endeavor. Day one goes by. Let's say day one, you're able to do like 7. You're like, okay, it's a bad day. Day 2 goes by, you hit like 8. And day 3 and 4, you find yourself still struggling between 7 and 8. And by the time you sit down and think about it, you're like, I can't see that I can hit 10 based on my current routine and systems in my life. And right now, it seems like I would either need to sacrifice some sleep time, for example, or sacrifice.
Yes.
Or
like, don't get me wrong. I'm not emphasizing because sacrificing on sleep, but the point is just sacrificing.
The
point is sacrificing.
Yes, I hear you. So then you think about it, you're like, I might need to sacrifice some sleep time, or I might need to sacrifice some Netflix time, 100%. Or some maybe you typically would spend 30 minutes doing something that you know that I mean, based on your overall life, it's pretty important to you. But you're like, I understand the season I'm in at the moment, and I understand that this number 10 wasn't chosen randomly.
Yeah.
Do you get me? The number 10 wasn't chosen randomly. And so the fact that I need to hit 10 means a lot to me.
Yeah.
And because it means a lot to me, I have to let go of something.
100%.
To allow myself to actually hit this goal.
This is making so much sense.
I'm not kidding here. This was when this entire thought process was when it made sense to me how crazy Alex's work ethic is.
Yeah.
That was when it made sense to me, because I was like, for you to work till you can no longer work, that's Alex, guys. Alex Ramosi he works till he can no longer work. And for the rest of us, we work, and then after work hours, we chill.
After work hours. Is like everything is work hours, my guy. Everything is work hours, man.
Everything is work hours, bro.
Yeah.
So that was when the understanding of how Alex views life really hits me. Because I'm like, if I do things the way I've been doing them, I can't catch up to someone like Alex. Do you get me? Even if I don't want to catch up like all through my life, maybe I just want to catch up for like a season or for a certain thing that we are trying to accomplish as a unit or whatever, as a business or whatever, right? How do I catch up if I don't sacrifice? Do you get me?
Yeah.
And that's when you dawned on me that, bruh, the certain seasons that you will step into, the season might last a month, might last 3 months, or whatever the case is, you would identify that there's certain seasons that will require you to sacrifice something.
Yeah.
Like you need to sit down and ask yourself, what can I give away to make this happen?
100%.
For the time being, even if not 100%. For the rest of my life, but for the time being. So that was 100%. A huge lesson for me. That was a super huge lesson for me. But yeah, Let's go on to you if I come back to
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. Like piggybacking off that, right? I think
Yeah.
again, flowing in line with the like, it segues beautifully from the point that I shared, right? It's like understandably or unsurprisingly, like our learnings have been similar, right? So it segues beautifully from optimizing for knowing
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah.
optimizing in
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
pretty much. It
Yeah.
segues beautifully because it's about sacrifice. It's like honest to God, right? And I love what you said about it might be for a season, yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know what's crazy? We might have said, oh, Netflix, oh, going out to chill, oh, playing games, or just like resting, right?
Yeah.
It might seem like it's only recreational stuff that you have to sacrifice, but you couldn't be further from the truth. Bro,
I
sometimes,
hear you.
honestly speaking, that
Yeah.
sleep that you have optimized, that you have balanced your circadian rhythm, do you understand what I'm trying to say? That sleep that you have nailed that 7 or 6 hours, yeah?
Yeah.
Honestly, on some
You. Yeah.
nights, it
Yeah.
will reduce.
It will
And
reduce. Yes. I
it
hear you.
kind of should be fine. Like we understand that it's not sustainable, right? But you
Yes.
know what you're
Yes.
optimizing your life. This is the
Yes.
whole point of optimizing your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you understand
Mm-hmm.
what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say?
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
understand that, oh, but like that's just what it needs. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It might
Yeah.
mean you, I don't know. I don't know, man. Like I don't want to, because people's lives are different. Everything is nuanced, right? People
Mm-hmm.
have varying degrees of control over like the things that they have to do with their lives, right? So for
Yeah.
instance, for me that has a decent amount of control over the things that I do, right? It might
Yeah.
mean, for instance, cutting back on some things in some businesses because I realize, okay, from where I am now, I stand a better chance with this vehicle than this vehicle. Do you
Yeah.
understand? In producing outputs that will turn to leverage for every other thing. So it means
Yeah.
I might genuinely cut back time that I use, for instance, on doing research, yeah, to
Yeah.
making content. Do you understand? So like
Yeah.
you're not just sacrificing seeming pleasures. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? You
Exactly. Makes so
like
much sense.
you
Yeah. I hear
might
you.
need to sacrifice legitimate things that you are doing because
Yes.
you
Yes.
found that in optimizing for my life. See, yo, I need a few more hours doing this, and I thought that I did. To be
Yes.
honest, I need a few more
Yeah.
hours doing this,
Yeah.
and you honestly look at your calendar, man. You honestly look at your daily plan or however it is you coordinate your time. Like, bro, something has to give. And let's say you are even
Yeah.
maybe like you're already productivity pro max. There's no there's no buckets of time that are free that you can take off. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It
Mm-hmm.
might be honestly something legitimate, yeah. You might have to
Mm-hmm.
cut back the time on. So let's say you read and research if it's the nature of your job, right? For
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
3 hours a day, it might mean that that might need to turn to 1.5, right? It
Yeah.
might mean that you need to spend your weekends more reasonably, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because you would need to work longer into the weeknights, yeah, and just choose
Mm-hmm.
that. See, if I sleep 4 a.m. on Saturday, I can wake up 11 a.m. Do you understand what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say? Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah. I hear
needs to
you.
be fine. It's not
I
just
hear you.
pleasures that we sacrifice and whatnot. It might be legitimate things. That's just to add some color to your
Yeah.
point, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, another lesson, and another lesson I think has helped me so far in H1 that I'm strongly taking, and you and I have been talking about this a lot more recently. I think honestly, I think it might even be it wouldn't be inaccurate to say like you kind of put me on the lesson, right? Is the
Mm.
importance of preparation and
Mm.
how much input you give to things, right?
Yeah.
And I guess it's that kind of thing. This would be one of those instances where the wisdom or the common sense of the point was obvious from the beginning. But if you are not at the point in life where it would make
Yes.
sense to
Yes.
you. See, you
Yes. Yes.
honestly cannot
Yes.
get
Yes.
it.
You
You
can't get it.
really
Yeah.
cannot
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
As
I hear
deeply
you.
as you would, it is a when the
Mm-hmm.
student is ready, the lesson will appear. Not even the teacher, the
Yes.
lesson.
Less. Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
literally what it was. And it was about
Yeah.
preparation and the amount of input, the amount of work, yeah, that you need to be willing to put in before things start to kick off, right?
Yeah.
Um, we, we I think we talked about this a little bit in the episode on quitting. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't, right? But what preparation and putting in work taught me is this. And it might be a two-in-one lesson, but like I think the point would help everybody, right?
That's perfect.
a lot of the times we underestimate the amount of work that it actually takes to get things done. It is not until you are actually doing or pressing your computer, bro. The most
Bro.
common way that this shows up, yeah, is you said, okay, you let's say you time box, like, okay, and let's say you were proactive, you did it the night before, that tomorrow between
Mm-hmm.
the hours of 9 and 12, I'll do this 12, you time boxed, yeah.
Yeah.
Upon getting to that work session, you realize that the things to do, there's a lack of clarity, there's fuzziness. This is where procrastination starts entering
Oh my
small.
God.
Let's say you are able to beat, like, you are high on Goggins, you are able to beat the entire fog of, okay, you don't know what to do. You now write down steps. But you just realize that the more as you're writing down steps, more things are just coming like, Jesus Christ, 3 hours isn't going to be enough to do these things that I said I
It's the
was
Jesus
going to
Christ for
do.
me.
Bro, like you see yourself writing stuff. Let's say
Oh
you're
my
even still
God.
optimistic and you're like, ginger. You just find out that
Oh God, I'm tearing
even
up.
to do the number one point there is longer, bro. Is
Yeah.
longer than what you imagined. So if you
Yeah.
were a newbie at anything, or you are just starting an undertaking that
Mm.
you don't have like experience with, just understand no
Mm-hmm.
matter how hard you think you are working, you're not working
Mm-hmm.
as hard as you need to work.
Bro.
Like,
Bro, the
you
reality of
have,
this thing
see,
is
Amar
crazy.
and I see when I saw an
Go on.
infographic or an illustration that says, if you have posted more than 21 episodes, you're in the top 90% of podcasters in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
like, I remember last year when we crossed episode 21, we did 50 episodes last year.
Yeah.
This is like the 13th episode.
Mm-hmm.
When we crossed episode, we were like, yeah, we're top 1%. But, like,
Yeah.
all the people that we are looking at, bro, the distance between us and
And then,
them, is humbling. And you might
yeah.
say that Amar and I are fantastic visionaries and executors, like we make a perfect team. I think we do for sure. But see,
Mm-hmm.
there are things we've seen, guys. I would like to. There are things we have seen. Amar and I will just sit there and look at each other. We are playing. We are playing. As far as, because we are counting stones and sticks. That's what we are doing. no matter how,
Oh my
no
God.
matter how crazy, like, we
Yeah.
might be on top of things, high energy, like, no
Mm-hmm.
excuses, our dreams are the lie, your excuses are valid. We might be on it, but by the time we compare our inputs to what those of our guys are doing, like,
Bro.
bro, we just got sell pure water, man, because
Bro.
we might as
Guys.
well.
Oh
It is
my God.
extremely humbling to realize that no matter
Yeah,
how
it's
hard
extremely.
you think you need to
Mm-hmm.
work, bro, double that, triple that, you're just starting to scratch the surface of what it
Mm-hmm.
takes to be a top 1%er in
No.
that, bro. 0 points.
0.01%.
You never start. You never come. You have not
Yeah.
arriving. I know that's terrible English, but you have not arriving, bro. You haven't arrived, man.
Oh my
Honestly
God.
speaking, and being humble. So, like, it's a lot of things in one, but the main point is that whatever amount of input you think you need
Mm-hmm.
to get a certain amount of output, just like times two, times three, times four, times five it, then we can have a
Yeah.
conversation about you actually getting that output. And it shows up in preparation, in how you prepare for things. Yeah.
Yes.
Preparation shows see, what's crazy, the littlest bits of preparation shows. When you now
Mm-hmm.
prepare
Mm-hmm.
like you are actually supposed to prepare, that is
Yeah.
when people start talking about you in awe.
Yeah.
But the thing is that people don't even know what preparation should look like.
Yes.
Let me give you an example to drive this home. Imagine, and I probably dubbed this from Alex, right? Like, the odds are I
Mm-hmm.
dubbed this from Alex, and I probably can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine, like, you were a speaker and you're preparing for a presentation, right? You might say, oh, you have your outline down, yeah. You rehearse in front of a mirror or to someone around you, a brother, a spouse, whatever, and they're like, oh, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good, and then, like, it's fine, right? Like, you do, and that might be it. And, like, in most people's heads, you've done decent work. Let's even ask it 2 or 3 times. Yeah. There might even be a
Mm-hmm.
part if you're a more paranoid person, you'll be like, oh, I should probably do a dress rehearsal. But, like, that might be paranoid. I'm just alone in my room now. You'll be thinking that you're paranoid, right? My
Mm-hmm.
brother, dear sister, you have not begun. You have not begun. Have you
Yeah.
prepared to the point where if the remote for the projector stops working, you know what to do?
Yeah. 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 I hear you, bro. I hear you.
Have you rehearsed that speech, that presentation, so much to the point where you know that, see, there's nothing left in me
Mm-hmm.
to give.
I've given my all
I left it out on the field.
on the field, bro.
Like
On the
you
field.
might think that preparation is like I rehearsed the speech, I rehearsed the presentation to one person around me, but
Mm,
in reality, are you giving that speech to one person? Are
mm-hmm,
you?
mm-hmm.
What is the best way you can approximate the actual real thing that you want to do to your preparation? What is the best way you can approximate it?
Yeah,
Wouldn't you rather go and just go to an event center, maybe at the end of the day, and stand on the podium just so you
bro.
can know what it is like? But will you
To
think
speak to
that far
2,000
in
people.
terms of trying to prepare? Are you willing to go that far to simulate what it will be like to speak to 1,000 people? Because the thing about presentations is that it's like, as for the example, if they invite you, they say that, oh, this is a speaker, there's already an amount of respect that you have given. So even if,
Mm-hmm.
let's say, you don't do the best job, people will still clap for you. They will come for say, I got
Yeah.
value. That word value,
And bro, they,
it they mod me, bro.
ah,
It they
the
mod
flattery,
me,
bro.
bro. It's fine. So, but like they will just be nice. Like not a lot of people would say, oh, I didn't really get anything useful from this, right? They will want to be nice. They want to be kind. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's really you and yourself to know that, oh, did you really put in the amount of work that you should have?
Yeah,
You need to be
yeah,
paranoid in preparation. You need to be paranoid. However well you think you want to prepare or you can have prepared. If there's still things you're thinking of that you could have maybe done, but it is in the realm of crazy, but because you think it's in the realm of crazy and you have not done it, then you are not done preparing.
mm, yeah,
You are
yeah,
not done preparing. If there is anything you can possibly imagine, do you know
yeah,
what to do if your internet slows down and you're doing a webinar? Do you know what to do?
yeah.
Have you read all of the scripts, all of the objection handling clauses in your sales training manual? Have you done every possible thing? Have you role played that thing with two different people from different ethnic groups just to make sure different ethnic groups, different backgrounds, different genders, just to different
Mm-hmm.
just to make sure that there is no possible iteration of this thing that
Yeah,
exists that will surprise
mm-hmm.
me?
Yeah,
Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So that's another way that the amount of input
yeah,
like and preparation shows out. The last thing I would share about this is which is what I kind of referenced to the quitting episode, right? Is people think things are failing, and let's say that you have been driven enough or you have done well enough that you are just grinding, showing up every day and giving as much effort as you can for that day, right? Because most of the time,
yeah,
consistency is always better than intensity. But if you can now have
yeah,
consistent intensity, you are a beast. You are one of a very select few. One
yeah,
of a
yeah.
very, 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 very select
People
few.
don't realize
Consistency
how.
first. People
Oh
don't
my God,
realize.
go on.
See, let's not go
You're,
this one.
you're,
Let's not go
let's
there.
not.
Let's not go
Mm-hmm.
there.
Go on,
I hear you,
go on.
man. But what's crazy is that let's say you keep on doing stuff, doing stuff, doing stuff, doing stuff, right? And this is still on the matter of inputs and like how we
Mm-hmm.
typically underestimate the amount of work it takes. People don't realize because they are not familiar with the journey of what it takes. They aren't really
Yes,
familiar with the journey of what it takes to get that thing, and they're doing it for the first time. And because it feels hard, they think they are failing.
yes,
What they don't know is that they are just at the point where that thing is hard. It's a different
yes,
thing.
yeah,
You are just at the point where that thing is hard for anybody that would pass through the same thing that you are passing through at your skill level, at your level of expertise and exposure. That is the same
mm-hmm.
experience a person like you would have. So you are not failing. That thing is just hard at that point. And if you just keep going, you will eventually finish. You will eventually get to the end. You will eventually succeed. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So, like a
Yeah,
lot of people just give up because they think they are failing because things are hard, not knowing that, oh, this is just a thing that is hard at this point, given my level of exposure and expertise, right? If I was more
mm-hmm.
skilled, if I was more experienced, if I had more knowledge, I would be able to do a better job than this. I would finesse
Mm-hmm.
this. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
So, because of that, they truncate the journey and then go
Yeah,
quit or go switch lanes to something else. Meanwhile, what
yeah.
they needed was
Value
staying
of despair.
power. Value of the bro, value of despair,
Value of
typical
despair.
value of despair. What they
Oh
needed
my God.
was to stay, like, understand what the journey is.
Mm-hmm.
Really, if you have a more, I'll give you an example. Um, couple people that I know, I heard the story like a while back. Couple people that I know, like two founders, right? One was a more
Yeah.
advanced company further along in like their company's journey, their company story and whatnot, right? So this
Yeah.
his other friend, yeah, the girl was saying, see, I'm fundraising for my Series A and it is such a pain, right? Like every other day, it is one, hey, we love hearing about. Once you hear we love hearing about, just like it's a lot they want to give you. Like go back, come back later. That's what they want to give you. Once the email starts
Oh
too
my God.
nicely, do you understand what I'm trying to say? Right? You
Yeah.
just know that they are not giving me money. Do you understand? These guys are
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
writing me a check. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So
Yeah.
they were like, I was like, bro, there might be maybe 30, 40 rejection emails, all nicely worded. You understand what I'm trying to say? These people, like, see,
Mm-hmm.
tech people are fluent at BS. Tech finance,
Yeah.
they are
Mm-hmm.
fluent, very fluent.
Yeah.
Just that. And then she was just feeling, not necessarily feeling somehow. At the time I remember the story, but anybody would be seemingly discouraged by the fact that you have 40 rejections. Do you
Yeah.
understand? Maybe that's 40 out of 45. The
Yeah.
remaining, you're either waiting for them to reject you or for it to work out. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Only for the other more established founder to then tell her that when he was doing his own Series A, he spoke to over 300 investors. So by the time he realized that I've just done 40, that I've said no, and this guy has done 200, 300. I can't remember the exact number, 200, 300, right? But infinitely more than I thought I needed to do.
Yeah.
When you find out that the person that got that remote job applied one application a day for an entire year before they finally got that offer,
Bro, staying
that's
power.
made
Oh my
them buy
God.
ultra wide monitor. You just see their content creator, my day one as a this thing, and you've applied for 2 weeks. You've only seen 5 rejection emails, first stage, second stage, and you think that they
Yeah.
have gone far. But you do not know that that person applied for 365 days, 2-3 emails a day.
Mm-hmm.
So the lesson here is that the rejection, yeah, is an inbuilt part of the journey that
Yeah.
you should come to expect, or that you can come to expect. If you are lucky enough to have an outlier experience where you don't, right, great for you, we're happy for you. Do you understand? But
Yes.
more often
Yes.
than not, right, if the road is hard, it doesn't mean you are failing. It means
Yeah.
that you are at the point where your skills, expertise, and experience doesn't quite match to make for a seamless experience at that point in time. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
has been a very, very, very
Bro.
humbling lesson for me, man. Humbling lesson for me.
Bro.
Very
Let me
humbling
just
lesson
add
for
to
me.
this. Let me just add to this quickly. So I remember there was something I learned very painfully.
I like
I
painful
mean, you
lessons. I
know
don't
that
like painful lessons, but painful lessons in the enter.
painful lessons are super important. They
Yeah.
they build character. They build they,
Bro, character formation, character development.
oh my God. So I learned, if you know me, you know that there are traits that I have come to refine in myself over time just by virtue of being a trader. Do you
Yeah.
get me?
Yeah.
And the thing is, a lot of traders know this, that these traits allow you to easily get into new domains and be able to, at least, even if not excel, at least be able to sustain yourself and then ascend. You get me?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
it's one thing to know this in theory. It's another thing to actually see it play out in real life. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I changed domains, not changed, but like I took on a new domain of expertise early this year, and you know this, right? And stepping into this new domain, I don't know why Amara that used to preach, what's the first thing I always preach with regards to the underestimating the volume of work. So Amara
Yeah.
that used to preach that we always underestimate the amount of work it takes to get a thing done. And on top of that, I go into this new domain and then I find out that as much as I know that I have the ability to stay, like the staying power to persist and see the outcomes that I want, the reality of starting a new domain as a, what's the word I would use now? You know, when you're not so good.
Yeah.
I don't want to say novice, but
Yeah.
not that, like, yeah, like let's use beginner.
For lack of
So
a better
entering a new
word.
domain, yes, as a beginner versus having operated in a different domain for months or years as an expert is bro, you will get into
Bro.
that new domain and you will realize that
Bro.
the volume of work it takes to be good at what you do in this new domain is crazy. And
Yeah.
you just didn't realize how crazy it was till
Yeah.
you actually started doing the work.
Yeah.
And then you start doing the work
Yeah.
and you're like, yeah, ease in one domain doesn't translate to ease in another domain by default.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah. You have to pay the
it's
dues
super
everywhere,
crazy.
man. You have to
Yes,
pay the
yes. You
dues
have to,
everywhere.
bro, you have
You
to
have to pay the
pay your
dues
dues. You
everywhere.
have to pay your dues. You have to pay your dues.
There are nuance situations where certain things will carry over, where
Yes,
certain
yes,
traits
because
will
of the traits, for sure.
better prepare you
Yes,
to be able to like handle the work. But there is
yes.
the price to be paid will always
Mm-hmm.
be there. So you may or may not have paid
Yeah,
it in some way, from or shape. Like everything is nuanced at the end of the day. But yeah, man,
yeah,
I totally hear what you're
yeah.
saying. So yeah, what are some things that you're going to be doing like this as we are entering this H2 now, like this?
Bro,
What are you on, bro?
um, the first thing I would say is, there's a reason why ancient wisdom, or how do they say it, age-old wisdom, is called
Yeah,
age-old wisdom.
yeah,
Like
for
there
sure.
is, like we hear these things growing up. They
Mm-hmm.
seem obvious. They seem,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But one that has really come to play out in my life of recently is practice and perfection, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it very nicely ties into the conversation about how you were talking about the perception of hard, basically.
Yeah.
And the problem, yeah, and the problem is a lot of the time you don't realize that you haven't put in the reps. It's just the reps. It's really just the
Mm-hmm.
reps. It's really just
Mm-hmm.
the reps. Because I was doing something for specificity. I was doing something and I was struggling. I mean, I mentioned to you 3 or 4 days ago that I was trying to shoot a video and it took me around
Yeah,
three
I
hours.
remember.
3 hours to shoot that video. It was
Yeah.
a specific kind of video I was trying to shoot, and it took me 3 hours. I was looking at the
Yeah.
hours go by and it made no sense. I was like, what?
Oh my
Because
god, I
oh
remember.
my God, it was insane. But today is what? 2 days after that. And
Mm-hmm.
having done about 8 videos between then and now one video is taking me about 30 minutes.
That's what it's about. That's what it's
Bro,
about.
it's the wisdom behind it is so simple that it's usually very neglected. These things, there's almost like the saying say, there's almost nothing new under the sun. It's crazy.
Really,
As
really,
simple as it is, there's
really.
almost nothing new under the sun, but the problem still remains that irrespective of the fact that there's nothing new under the sun, the things that we already know, we do not
Mm-hmm.
use. Do you get me? Another thing I've learned is that I'm using to run into H2 is that true consistency does not care about your excuses. True consistency. It doesn't care about your excuse. It doesn't care. True consistency says show up. It does not care. Anything you want to do is your own business. You will pay for it with time wasted. You will pay with time wasted. And that's something that I have been driving very hard with going into H2. That if you indeed want to do consistency the way you know that like everybody talks about it, like what seems like the ideal, where you show up without fail and just keep showing up,
Yeah.
bro, you can't afford any excuses. You really cannot. And another thing I have come to appreciate that I know that has been super helpful for H1 that I'm also using to operate in H2 is how
Mm-hmm.
thinking long term isn't always as easy as it's communicated. And here's what I mean. Here's what I mean. For some activities, you can easily see how the days will stack up into your wins on the days will stack up to wins on the week and wins for the years and all of that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
for some others, you will find that it may not be as easy to make sense of how your day's struggle and the next day's win will add up to
Yeah,
what you want for the year. So I
I
think
hear that.
what I have been able to take away from H1 and what I know I'm applying very strongly in H2 is how you have to be able to define what progress looks like for every activity in your life.
That's very useful. That
Yeah,
is
you
very
have to be able
useful.
to you have to be able to define what progress because when you are clear that okay, this is what progress looks like for let's say you want to read books, for example, all right?
Mm-hmm.
For you, is reading books the goal or is putting into practice the things that you read from the books the goal? From going from individual to individual would determine what the answer to that question would be. But
Yeah.
ideally, you would find that your goals would then determine what you define as progress. And
Yeah.
that would then allow you to look at all your tasks and not beat yourself up when something doesn't look the way it should look on some other thing. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
going into
yeah.
H2 with a very clear sense as to what progress looks like across all the things I'm doing. I mean, you would expect that I normally do this, but these things can easily always fly over your head. And the
Bro, like
last thing,
that's what it is.
bro, the last
You're
thing I
totally
would
right.
add to this is the constant reminder of why you started doing certain things. It's almost like the conversation with optimizing for what you want. Because if that reminder as to what you're optimizing for is always at the back of your mind, you will be able to make decisions that would allow you to put your best foot forward.
Yes,
But yeah, that's pretty
totally,
much it. That's pretty
totally,
much it. So
totally.
what are you going into H? What area do you? Because I mean, you started this conversation talking about how you're here already in your thinking. So I'd like to know what that would be like
Excited,
for you
happy,
in H2.
as opposed to, yeah, like my speaking to that or giving more context is
Yeah,
naturally once people don't see the goals that they want to achieve, they might get disappointed or discouraged, or lethargic
I don't,
or
but
a
go on.
host of other colorfully negative ways, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But genuinely, I am just very excited. And I say that because I look calm. Like if you see me working, if you see my demeanor, like on most days, like 9 out of 10 times, right, 90% of the time, I might look rather calm. Yeah, but bro, like there's just like a happiness and excitement, like behind the fact that, oh, I'm wiser with this starting point that I am, right? Like
Yeah.
I remember saying, I'm paraphrasing loosely, that tomorrow is another chance to begin intelligently.
That's such a good thing.
Yeah,
That's such a
you
good
can
thing.
begin
Yeah.
more intelligently tomorrow. So I'm excited
I mean,
about
that's all we
the
use for this
next.
episode.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
I'm excited about the next 180 plus days of the year. Like super stoked, guy. I can't even lie, because, but that is obviously all predicated on how well I can show up, right? So
Yes.
what I want to really focus on going into H2 is clarity per time. And I think everything that I've said would can be summarized or paraphrased into clarity. If I know what I'm optimizing for, I have clarity as to how to make decisions, right? If I know the amount of work needed to be done, or I can accept that I don't know the amount of work needed to be done, so that when more work shows up, I'm not discouraged, or I can regulate my emotions, right? I have clarity on how to proceed. Do you understand? Like, or at least I'm calm enough, yeah, to be in a space to say, okay, yes, I can proceed. Like taking one step illuminates the other, and the next after that, and the following, and the following, and the following. And that is what this is like, right? So having
Yeah.
that clarity, super important for me. And like you said, more the quality than the points, maintaining this mindset, carrying this mindset every
Yes.
decon day, every moment,
Yes.
every day that you
Yes.
wake up, is a lot more
Yeah.
challenging than it seems. It is
Yeah.
very easy for people to do initial gra. Do you understand? With things, do you
Bro.
understand? Especially with beginnings. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? But the fact of the matter is that you need to do the job of regulating your mindset and emotions, right? Up until the point, especially when you are starting, right? And I would
Yeah.
say for a lot of people, they are in varying degrees of starting or
Starting
being in the middle
points.
of the progress or the
Yeah.
journey, right?
Yeah.
So you might find that you maintaining the energy that you had from the beginning is not automatic. Did you get what I'm trying to say? So you
Yeah.
have to for sure pay attention to
Yeah.
your mental and emotional states in stewarding these
Yes.
mindsets, these paradigms
Yeah.
that
Bro,
have
stewarding,
helped
bro.
you,
Stewarding
bro.
is
You
such a
are
good word.
stewarding it, man. Like paradigms that have
Yeah.
helped you gain this clarity, this very profound clarity, or this POV that you have now, right?
Yeah.
Like you kind of like need to capture it and put it in a bottle or in a box, but somewhere you so that you know what it's like, you know what it feels like, you know what the results are
Yeah.
supposed to be. You get what I'm trying to say? So,
Yeah.
bro, going into H2, I'm super excited about things. Yeah, super
Yeah.
excited. Hoping I can maintain clarity with remembering constantly what is important, right? And understanding the work that needs to be done, right?
Yeah.
Then taking the page from what you said, being okay with sacrifices. That I would say that was a more recent learning for me. The fact that sometimes something has to give, especially when you want to give attention
Yeah.
to, because I
Yeah.
honestly do not think, yeah, if you want to start out something, like sometimes you just need to push your way through certain things. Yeah.
Yes.
I struggle to accept that for something that you have deemed useful or important to your life, maybe right now, in a couple weeks, in a couple months, in a couple years, that if
Yeah.
you give that thing 5 to 10 hours of focused work, like
Bro. Yeah.
you just lock yourself up in a room. I hope someone
Yeah.
takes a nasty amount of energy from listening to what I'm saying right now. Like, think of that thing that you have procrastinated on for the longest, where the next step seem easy, like it's in your head right now. You know that thing. I know
Mm-hmm.
that you know that thing. That thing like
Mm-hmm.
Amara says, the 20 out of the 80, 20 out of the 80, 20, 20, that moves
Mm-hmm.
the needle for you. That one thing that you know that if you do, it totally unlocks everything. It adds a multiplier
Yeah.
effect to everything that you can do. See,
Yeah.
sometimes that you like desperate times, desperate measures, man. Because you will just be
Bro.
romancing your excuses and your life is going. It's not time that is going, it's life.
Bro, it's life,
It's not
bro.
time that
It's
is
life.
going, it's
It's
life.
life, bro.
It's not
It's
time that's
life.
going, it's life. You will just be romancing your excuses and they'll be romancing you back and you'll be thinking all is well. It ain't well, bro.
Yeah.
You will sound convincing, you'll be empathizing. People will even be crying because of your own excuse on your behalf.
Mm-hmm.
Will you be content to accept that and miss out on the life that you could have lived? Because, and the thing about excuses, I wanted to mention when you brought it up is that it can be very, very unfair.
Yes.
Learning that legitimately, I did not have power. My internet was wonky. There was traffic on that day, and I got back there and I couldn't shoot. I just genuinely couldn't make the time because I was back to back on deliverables and whatnot.
Yeah.
Do you understand? I just couldn't. At the end of the day, bottom line is that thing didn't get done.
Bro.
It
That's it,
might
bro.
not have been your fault, but it's your
Mm-hmm.
responsibility. Fault and
Yes.
responsibility are two different things.
That's a
It
different
might
thing.
not have been
Yes.
your fault, but you
Yes.
have the ability to take responsibility for that thing, of
Mm-hmm.
finding a solution, of course correcting when and if you need to. Do you
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm trying to say? So
Yeah.
I don't care what that thing is for you in this H2, right? I don't care what it is for you, but you have someone needs to just probably, you know what, notepad, computer, everything that you think you need. If you're an artist, carry your canvas,
Mm.
carry everything. But bro, honestly, yeah. There are some things that if you don't punch through, there's no breakthrough.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
honestly need to go and lock yourself. Hmm?
Yeah. Yeah.
This weekend, cancel all your plans. From Friday evening to Sunday, cancel all your plans, bro. Cancel
Yeah.
everything and just sit with that thing. Throw your phone away. Tell somebody, carry this phone, like whatever you need to do to get yourself in the zone to work and start that thing, right? Because a lot of people are
Mm-hmm.
not starting. Because if people
Yeah.
have started, they'll be able to continue. They'll be able to manage the day to day or continue.
Mm-hmm.
They have
Mm-hmm.
a better chance. They stand a better chance. But if you've not even started, how do you want to continue? How do you want to achieve
Yeah.
ultimately? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Yeah.
So get past the starting points. That thing that you have put off for too long, that new journey, that new career, that pivot that you've put off for too long, that next
Mm-hmm.
step in the journey that you have put off for too long. Start. Take this weekend
Yeah.
and cancel everything. Yes, to hurt somebody that you might not show up for. It will be fine. Honestly, that
Be fine,
relationship that
bro.
relationship can honestly repair itself.
Yeah.
But for your good, cancel
Yeah.
all your plans, lock yourself, and start. Just
Yeah.
start. So, guys, lovely to, I wouldn't say be back
Bro.
because, guys, we have had very interesting experiences trying to put this together. Like you
I
might
want I
notice, it's
want
a
I want
different
to I
setting.
want to wrap this episode up with one very super important point because it just ties this entire episode
Mm-hmm.
nice ties up the entire episode nicely. And
Mm-hmm.
it's the thing we've said 1,000 times on the podcast, bro. That if you seek, you will find. Because guys,
Mm-hmm.
if you think about what we are using right now to stream and what we are
The story. The
bro, so
story.
guys, our first attempt ever at doing this kind of setup was in 2022,
Yeah,
not
2022.
2023.
It was
Was in
2022.
2022. Was Q4 of 2022.
Yep.
Look how long it took us to figure this out.
Yeah.
But Daniel kept checking. Daniel kept seeing.
Bro, like there has to be
a way.
something, man. There has to be a way. We absolutely
Oh my
refuse
God.
to take no for an answer.
Yes,
Guys,
we
like this
refused.
setup that
That
you
was it.
see,
Yes.
bro, nah. Like,
Yes.
I mean, we will
Yeah.
still do like the physical filmings and whatnot, like as we
Yes.
continue to grow
Yeah.
bigger and whatnot, right?
Yes.
But like this setup is essentially a response to the challenges that are going on
that we've faced in H1.
that we have faced
Oh my
going on
God.
in Nigeria, bro. It is. We said it before. Nigerians spend an unnecessary amount of proactivity figuring things
Yeah.
out that should not be figured out. That should
Yes,
be a
yes.
given. Do you understand? Things like light, things like internet, things like it can be crazy, guys. So like this is a response to that because we have to show up. Like we say, like our excuses are valid, but our
Yeah,
dreams
yeah.
are on the
But
line.
your
But
dreams are
yeah,
on that. Yeah.
to what Amari said, if you when I found out
If
we
you
could use the
see.
social, I sent it. I was like, bro, it was like 11 p.m. I sent it to you. I'm like,
It was like 11
bro,
p.m., bro. I
that he
couldn't
came
believe
to
it.
my house the next day and we tried it all through that day, and it didn't even take too long to figure it out. And we're like,
Yeah.
bruh.
Yeah.
Honestly, I totally
Yeah.
agree that is a beautiful way to segue into the end.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah. So guys, we thank you.
you will find.
We thank you guys for listening and tuning in as always. We thank you for making Zero X a part of your day. We hope you enjoyed this new experience.
Absolutely,
We are
absolutely,
still learning,
absolutely.
and
We are still learning.
definitely
Like
still
we have
refining.
to show up and show
We're
up. Like
definitely still
like
refining.
done is better than perfect all the time.
Bro,
Done
V1.
is better
Get
than
V1 out of
see
the
your
way.
V0, your V1, your
Bro,
V2, your
get it.
keep
Do
doing
it
it
and keep it
shamelessly.
moving.
See people
Do it
that
and keep it
know
moving.
game will respect your showing up. I promise you. It doesn't have to be all fanciful
Bro.
and perfect. People that know game, right?
Yes. Yes.
Your face, go and check that. Go and check where they started from. 1,000 posts ago.
Yeah.
Where were they?
Yes. That's such a good point. So guys,
Yeah.
as always, please like and subscribe, and we thank you for making this a part of your day.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Cheers, guys.